Hey friends, sometimes the deepest signals don't come from loud declarations, but from quiet pauses. She smiles, she texts, she listens, and then suddenly, she disappears for a moment. She withdraws, becomes elusive, her warmth now veiled in coolness. You're left wondering, did I misread everything? But what if I told you, she's not running away, she's watching? Not to test your ego, but to weigh your essence. In this modern world where everyone's rushing to capture attention, she's not interested in another man who moves fast. She's not impressed by speed, charm, or clever words. What she's really looking for is depth, and depth takes time to reveal itself. A woman who makes you wait is a woman who sees potential, not just in the relationship, but in you. And she's silently asking, will he rise into the man I sense he can become? You see, women who've been through emotional storms no longer fall for surface-level sparks. They felt what it's like to be admired but not valued, to be pursued but never understood. So when they meet a man who feels different, a man who stirs something real, their instincts don't scream yes. They whisper, wait, watch, feel. When she makes you wait, she's not playing games. She's protecting the sanctuary of her heart, because a man who earns her softness too quickly may never understand its cost. Her waiting is a quiet prayer for something real, and in that silence, she's watching how you carry yourself when there's no reward yet. Do you become desperate? Do you retreat into ego? Or do you remain rooted, calm, patient, not to impress her, but because that's who you truly are? This isn't about being passive or weak. In fact, it's about embodying a new kind of strength, the kind Marcus Aurelius spoke of when he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Her distance isn't rejection, it's the very path where you show your character. And yes, she may still check your stories, she may linger on your messages, because part of her is still choosing, still hoping, still watching to see if your actions match the promise she felt when your souls first brushed. So if she's making you wait, don't get lost in fear. Get found in purpose. Let the waiting become your proving ground. Become the man who isn't rattled by silence, because your heart speaks louder in presence than your mouth ever could in pursuit. In today's journey, we're going to uncover 7 hidden truths, unspoken reasons why women delay affection when they deeply care. Each point will offer you a lens, not just into her behavior, but into your own evolution as a man. We're not here to decode games, we're here to grow, to become men worthy of slow, sacred love. So take a breath, let's dive into the stillness behind her hesitation, because what feels like resistance may actually be the door to something extraordinary, if only you learn how to walk through it without force. Today we discover 7 secret reasons why she's making you wait, not to frustrate you, but because she sees what you can become. Let's go start. Number 1, she wants to know if you can handle her depth, not just her beauty. A woman who plays hard to get isn't always testing your patience. Sometimes she's testing your soul. When she pulls back, delays her replies, or seems emotionally distant, it's not always about ego or control, it's often about depth, hers and yours. Many men approach women with shallow intent, praising their beauty, chasing the surface, but failing to touch the layers buried beneath. A woman who senses potential in you, real potential, will test whether you're merely fascinated by her face or curious about her fears. She wants to know if you can handle her silence, her slow unraveling, her unpredictability. These aren't obstacles, they are invitations. She's asking, will you rush me or will you read me? When she plays hard to get, she is often guarding a heart that has been too generous in the past, one that gave too quickly and suffered in return, and now she has learned that a love worth trusting must earn its way past her defenses. Her delays are not always rejections. Sometimes they are sacred pauses, spaces where she observes you, sees how you carry yourself when she isn't constantly available. Do you become needy? Do you beg for validation, or do you remain grounded, purposeful, whole within yourself? This is what she wants to see, because deep down, she doesn't want a man who chases her. She wants a man who attracts her, not with tactics, but with truth. When she plays hard to get, she wants to see if your presence is rooted in ego or in essence. Do you crave her attention because she makes you feel like a man, or do you already feel like a man and simply wish to share your world with her? Stoic wisdom reminds us, as Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. In this case, the best response is not to mimic her distance with coldness, but to remain calm, present, curious. Her hesitations are not a game. They are reflections of a world inside her you haven't yet been granted entry to. She's making you wait because she wants to know. Will you see her, really see her, when she finally lets you in? In a world of instant gratification, where attention is cheap and swipes are endless, a woman playing hard to get may be one of the last standings for something sacred. She is not afraid to be misunderstood, not afraid to lose those who only wanted ease. She is waiting for the rare man who sees value in the wait. The man who knows that love, real, enduring love, is not something you win. It is something you grow into. She's not testing your dominance. She's testing your devotion. And when she sees that you stay centered, that you don't chase but also don't disappear, that's when she begins to fall. Not because you begged, not because you played games back, but because you understood her silence better than most understood her words. So, if she's playing hard to get, see beyond the performance. Look for the poetry. She is not difficult. She is deep, and she's waiting to see if you are too. Number 2, she wants to see if you respect yourself first. Sometimes, the space she creates isn't a barrier, it's a mirror. When a woman plays hard to get, she's often not just observing how much you want her, but how much you want yourself. A woman with emotional intelligence and inner standards doesn't want a man who will abandon his own values the moment he feels desire. She wants to know, do you have boundaries? Can you tell her no with grace? Can you walk away if your dignity is at stake? A woman's attraction deepens when she senses that your self-respect is non-negotiable. And ironically, that's why she might make herself slightly out of reach, because she wants to feel the contrast of your groundedness. She wants to feel the weight of your identity, not just the lightness of your compliments. When she tests the space between you, she's really testing whether or not you'll remain loyal to yourself while reaching for her. This is not manipulation, it's instinct. Women who have experienced men losing themselves in lust or sacrificing self-worth to impress know that admiration without self-awareness quickly becomes obsession. And no woman wants to be someone's obsession. She wants to be a choice, not a fixation. So she distances, she delays, she lets the rhythm of uncertainty enter, not because she's cruel, but because she's cautious. And in that caution, she's observing your emotional posture. Are you someone who stays respectful when things don't go your way? Do you crumble when she withdraws affection? Or do you remain warm but composed? These are the invisible questions she's asking. And your silence, your pace, your restraint, those are your answers. The Stoics believe that a man who cannot master his emotions becomes a slave to them. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And women, even subconsciously, are drawn to men who live this way. So, when she plays hard to get, when she doesn't rush into your arms, when she leaves your message unread, she's not playing games. She's watching how you play yourself. Will you still show up for your goals? Will you still live your truth without shrinking or shifting just to win her over? In many ways, her distance is a sacred test, not of how much you'll chase, but of how much you'll stay aligned. She wants to admire you. She wants to be proud to say, "He chose me, but he never lost himself doing it." Because love to her is not surrender, it's recognition. And she can't recognize you as a man of worth unless you've proven that you already value yourself. This is why some of the most powerful romantic connections are born not from relentless pursuit, but from quiet presence, from the man who sees her clearly, desires her deeply, but refuses to abandon his essence just to possess her. And in that rare combination of attraction and self-respect, she begins to lean in, slowly, gently, willingly, because a woman will wait for the man who waits for himself. So, if she's hard to get, ask yourself, not, how do I win her, but, am I someone I respect enough to be chosen by her? When your answer is yes, when your soul stands tall, even in longing, that's when she'll know. That's when the walls come down, and that's when the game ends, because something real is finally beginning. Number 3, she wants to feel safe before she blooms. In every woman lives a quiet garden, delicate, radiant, full of unseen colors, but it does not bloom under pressure. It blossoms under safety, and this is something most men overlook. When a woman plays hard to get, it's not always about ego or control. Often, it's about fear. Fear of being seen too quickly, fear of giving too much to the wrong man, fear of becoming vulnerable in a world that constantly teaches her to guard her heart. You may see her smile and strength, but you don't see the ghosts she's hiding behind those eyes. Ghosts of past betrayals, half-built loves that ended in silence, promises that withered in the hands of careless men. So when she makes you wait, when she doesn't rush to say yes, it's not because she doesn't like you, it's because she's trying to protect what's sacred. And here's the paradox. The more she likes you, the more carefully she'll proceed, because true desire awakens true caution. She wants to know, will you rush her? Will you demand closeness before trust is formed? Or will you be patient enough to water the garden without asking for its fruit too soon? A real woman needs emotional safety before she lets you close. Not just safety from physical harm, but from the subtle violence of being misunderstood. She wants to feel that her mind can wander in your presence without being judged, that her silence won't be mistaken for distance, that her boundaries won't be seen as rejection. And that's why she waits. That's why she watches, because she's not just testing you, she's watching how she feels around you. When she plays hard to get, she's asking silently, is this a man who hears the language I don't speak aloud? Is this a man who will read between the lines of my hesitation and not punish me for it? She wants to feel that she can be soft without being taken advantage of. And in today's world, where speed and instant gratification dominate everything, a woman's slow unfolding becomes her resistance, her rebellion, her way of saying, I am not here for convenience. I am here to be understood. A Stoic heart understands this. Marcus Aurelius once said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. A man who holds peace inside himself will radiate calm even when she pulls away. He will not react with anger or manipulation. He will not demand explanations. He will simply remain grounded, warm, available, and in that stillness, she feels something she doesn't feel often, safety. The kind of safety that doesn't cage her, but invites her to bloom on her own terms. So if she's hard to get, don't chase, anchor, don't pressure, observe, don't demand, offer, and remember, love is not something you grab, it's something you receive when the timing is right and the trust is deep. Her resistance is not rejection, it's a filter to see who will stay soft with her even when she's guarded. And if you can pass through that filter without losing your strength, you'll witness something rare. A woman who doesn't just want you, but trusts you, enough to hand you the key to everything she's been protecting all along. Number 4, she's watching how you handle the unknown. When a woman plays hard to get, she's not just stepping back, she's stepping into the shadows, watching you from a place of sacred silence. She's paying attention not only to what you do when you have clarity, but more importantly, to how you behave when you're left in the dark. This is the moment where many men fail. They panic, chase, overtext, demand answers, or retreat into cold detachment. but not realizing this uncertainty is not a trap. It's a mirror, a test of emotional maturity. She wants to see what kind of man you are when you don't have the answers, because that's what real life will throw at you. Not certainty, but chaos. She's not just interested in your charm when things are easy. She's looking for your calm when things are vague. She wants to know, can you hold your center when you feel confused? Can you remain emotionally composed when her signals aren't obvious? Can you still treat her with patience and dignity even when you don't feel in control? This isn't manipulation. This is emotional filtering. It's wisdom disguised as distance. Because any man can act sweet when he feels validated, but only a grounded man can remain kind and steady when he feels unsure. In her heart, she knows that life with her won't always be clear. There will be days when she's overwhelmed, quiet, or confused herself. And on those days, she needs a man who doesn't fall apart when the map disappears. She needs a man who doesn't chase closure, but creates space. She's watching how you treat her silence, whether you can hold tension without turning it into punishment. Think of it like this: her delay is her defense, but also her deepest invitation. She's handing you the unknown to see if you'll turn it into pressure or patience. Will you rush her into clarity, or will you let time work its quiet magic without demanding constant reassurance? This is the subtle language of emotional strength that many men miss. And if you respond with grace instead of control, she sees something rare, a man who doesn't flinch in uncertainty. Stoic wisdom speaks directly to this test. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. She is less concerned with what you say and more intrigued by how you manage not knowing what to say. Will you spiral into self-doubt, or will you stand grounded in self-trust? She's not pushing you away. She's watching how well you stay aligned when the emotional GPS goes offline. And this tells her everything she needs to know. In a world of instant reactions and shallow attention, your ability to hold steady in ambiguity becomes your most powerful form of attraction. If you can meet her mystery with quiet confidence, if you can meet her pauses with presence, you become unforgettable, because suddenly she's not just dealing with a man who wants her, she's standing before a man who can handle her. In every emotional season, not just the ones that are easy to read. So when she creates space, don't fill it with fear, fill it with depth. Don't text her your anxiety. Anchor in your silence. Don't demand her clarity, demonstrate yours, because in doing so, you show her something no words can prove, that you're not afraid of her depth and you don't need certainty to be kind. And that's when she stops testing and starts trusting. Number 5, she's waiting to see if you respect her independence. When a woman makes herself hard to reach, when she doesn't immediately say yes to your time, your calls, or your closeness, it's not always a rejection. Often, it's a subtle invitation. She's not creating distance to escape you, but to observe you from a distance and see something far deeper than your charm, your respect for her space. Because in a world where many men confuse closeness with control, she wants to know if you're the rare kind of man who can desire her without possessing her. She wants to see if you understand that her life is not a vacancy waiting to be filled. It's a garden she's already cultivating, with her passions, her work, her friendships, and her solitude. And when you try to rush in with demands, when you assume availability is the same as affection, you miss the entire language of emotional safety. She's hard to get not because she's playing games, but because she's spent years building a life that isn't centered around validation. She's not a prize you win by chasing. She's a soul that observes how gently you approach. She's watching to see if you give her room to breathe, if you treat her time as valuable, if you recognize that she has a world outside of your interest. Women with depth often pull back, not to punish you, but to test your presence in absence. Do you collapse into neediness when she's unavailable, or do you remain grounded, trusting that connection must coexist with freedom? This is where most men reveal themselves, not by what they say, but by how tightly they hold on when things aren't instantly reciprocated. The truth is, if she's strong, if she's self-aware, she needs more than compliments. She needs to feel like her independence is safe around you, that she won't be punished for having a life of her own, that you won't crumble if she chooses to put herself first some days. Because love that's real doesn't require disappearance. It allows dual existence. She wants to know, can you be close without becoming consuming? Think of it like this. When you don't interrupt her silence with insecurity, you speak volumes. When you support her boundaries without complaint, you show maturity. When you don't demand her energy on your timeline, you communicate emotional elegance. This doesn't make you passive, it makes you powerful. It tells her that your self-worth isn't dependent on her constant attention. It shows her that you're not trying to steal her light, but willing to stand beside it. In Stoic terms, this is the virtue of temperance, knowing when to step forward and when to step back. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Likewise, the best way to win her heart isn't to mirror the aggressive noise of men who don't understand her. It's to be the quiet, steady presence that does, not by chasing, but by choosing patience, not by pressuring, but by proving respect. A woman who plays hard to get isn't always testing your effort. She may be testing your reverence. Will you treat her as an equal or try to consume her like a conquest? Will you walk with her pace or try to break it with urgency? The answers lie not in what you do when she gives you everything, but in how you behave when she offers only a little, just to see if you're worthy of more. And if you are, she'll know, not because you said the right thing, but because you lived it, because you loved her space like it was sacred, not something to be stolen. Number 6, she wants to see how you handle challenge and uncertainty. When a woman pulls back or plays hard to get, it's not a test of your patience, it's a test of your character. She doesn't need you to swoop in, fix everything, or be her emotional anchor right away. What she needs often is to see how you handle challenge and uncertainty, especially in moments when she's not available or when things aren't going according to plan. This is where many men falter, when the challenge is internal rather than external, when the uncertainty lies in the unspoken and unseen. A woman will often pull back because she wants to observe how you deal with the unknown. It's easy to show your best self when everything is easy and clear, but how do you act when things are murky? How do you respond when the world feels a little distant, when she's not sure if she's ready to dive in, or when her own fears of emotional intimacy make her retreat? This is the real test. It's not about proving you're good enough for her in the obvious ways. It's about showing her you can handle life's messy, unpredictable nature with grace. This plays into the concept of emotional resilience. A woman wants to know if you have emotional resilience that can withstand her moments of doubt, her moments of silence, and her hesitations. Women, especially those who value their emotional and mental space, want to see how you react when they are less than perfect. When the relationship is in an uncertain phase, do you react with frustration? Do you demand clarity immediately, or do you let things breathe? There's a beauty in patience. There's a deep, almost profound form of respect in being able to give someone room to sort through their emotions without forcing the issue. She wants to see if you can respect the pace of her emotional process, understanding that, just like any human being, she is allowed to have doubts, fears, and struggles. And most importantly, she wants to know if you can stand firm in your own sense of self during these moments without needing constant reassurance or validation from her. If you push for answers when she's not ready to give them, if you crumble in the face of uncertainty, or if you make it all about your need for reassurance, you show her that you are not emotionally steady. You show her that you still need her to constantly tell you where you stand, and that's a burden she's not looking to bear. On the other hand, if you can stand strong in the face of ambiguity, if you can hold your ground with patience and emotional maturity, you show her that you are someone she can trust to navigate the complexities of life with her. In philosophical terms, this is where Stoicism teaches its greatest lesson. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, uncertainty, silence, and emotional distance aren't things to be feared. They are part of the natural rhythm of any meaningful relationship. How you handle those moments shapes who you are as a partner. A woman doesn't just want to see how much you can fight for her. She wants to see if you're willing to fight for yourself first, your own peace, your own resilience. When you prove that you are not shaken by uncertainty, you demonstrate your strength, not just in the relationship, but within yourself. She wants to know that you won't crumble in the face of silence, but instead that you will respect her space and allow the relationship to unfold at its own pace. Number 7, she wants to see if you are truly worth the investment. At its core, the reason a woman might play hard to get is because she is asking herself a critical question. Is this man truly worth my emotional investment? This isn't about whether you are good-looking, successful, or charming in the moment. It's about whether you are genuinely deserving of her time, energy, and heart. Women, especially those who are emotionally intelligent and self-aware, will often pull back to evaluate the deeper qualities of a man, searching for signs that he is capable of a meaningful, long-term connection. Many men believe that if they try hard enough or show enough attention, they can convince a woman to like them. While attention is important, it's the emotional quality and depth behind that attention that truly matters. A woman won't invest her heart, soul, or energy into a relationship with someone who hasn't proven that they can offer the same level of emotional depth in return. Playing hard to get is her way of creating the necessary space to evaluate this very thing. In some cases, the reason a woman pulls away is not because she doesn't like you, but because she is trying to see if you are someone who can handle a real connection. Can you rise to the challenge? Will you be consistent, patient, and strong enough to sustain a relationship that requires vulnerability, emotional labor, and genuine commitment? Or will you falter under the weight of emotional intimacy, pulling away as soon as things get real? The phrase, "actions speak louder than words," carries so much weight in this context. A woman will carefully observe your actions, not just your words, because it's the actions that reveal whether or not you are ready for something deeper. When she plays hard to get, she wants to know if you're willing to put in the work. Are you the kind of man who only seeks attention when things are going well? Or are you willing to invest your time and emotional energy in the tough moments? This is the crux of the test. Furthermore, the way you handle her playing hard to get will tell her a lot about how much you value the relationship. If you chase after her too aggressively, desperate to win her over, it can come across as insecurity or neediness, which will push her further away. But if you approach the situation with calm confidence, understanding that love and connection cannot be rushed, you show her that you are emotionally mature and grounded. You don't need to force things. You let them unfold naturally, demonstrating that you are truly someone worthy of a long-term investment. This is where the concept of patience becomes incredibly important. Patience isn't just about waiting. It's about waiting with understanding, grace, and a deep awareness that true emotional connection takes time to cultivate. It's about giving a woman the time and space she needs to assess her feelings without applying pressure or rushing her process. In many ways, it's about showing her that you can respect her boundaries, her emotions, and the pace at which she is ready to move forward. In the grand scheme of things, relationships are investments, just like any meaningful pursuit. The returns are not immediate, and sometimes the investment requires trust and understanding that not all rewards are given quickly. It takes time to understand if someone is truly worth the effort. And so, When a woman plays hard to get, she's essentially asking you, are you willing to put in the time and patience necessary to prove that I am worth your emotional investment? If you respond with maturity, consistency, and emotional depth, you show her that you are ready to invest in her and in the relationship fully and wholeheartedly. Conclusion. In conclusion, understanding why women play hard to get when they like you is not just about deciphering her behavior. It's about understanding the deeper emotional and psychological dynamics that guide her actions. At the core, her actions are driven by a desire for authenticity, respect, and trust in a potential partner. Each of the points we've explored reveals a layer of emotional intelligence that she is testing to see if you are truly someone who can stand the test of time, commitment, and love. By recognizing the reasons behind this behavior, you can shift your approach from one of frustration or confusion to one of clarity and emotional maturity. You begin to see that playing hard to get isn't a game, but rather a method of self-preservation and discernment. It's a woman's way of protecting her heart, testing your level of emotional availability, and determining whether you are capable of offering something genuine, lasting, and worthwhile. When you stop chasing after her and start respecting her pace, your emotional maturity will speak volumes. When you show patience, consistency, and emotional depth, you create the space for a relationship to develop naturally, built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. This is the real key to attracting a woman who isn't just playing hard to get, but is instead investing her heart and soul in someone who proves their worth through meaningful actions, not just words. If you found value in understanding the deeper reasons behind why women play hard to get, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join us for more insights and tips on relationships, personal growth, and how to navigate the complexities of love with wisdom and emotional intelligence. Remember, relationships aren't about rushing. They're about growing, learning, and evolving together. Let's keep learning and building a deeper understanding of ourselves and the people we connect with. Stay tuned for more transformative content.